This is the Cumpan Cockpit Assistant from Berotec, and in this video, I'll be showing you what this unit does, how to install one, and my first thoughts. Hey, welcome back to the Snowbike channel. My name is Jared, and I've got a cool new product for you today. This is the Berotec Cumpan Cockpit Assistant, and I stumbled across this product over the summer and thought I would share it with you. Today I'm going to be going over what this does, how to install it, and then give you my first impressions. One thing I liked about this right off the bat is it will actually fit inside of the C3 top clamp, and so it makes for a nice clean finish. And this is different than a Trailtech, any of the TTO temperature sensors. This is going to be giving you a lot more information, including RPM, and if you want to hook up an AFR sensor to this, of course, coolant temperature, ambient air temperature, gear indicator, whole lot of data information that can come from this and pack itself into a nice slim dash to put on your snow bike. And so with that, let's get into it. All right, so here's what everything looks like when you get it here boxed up. You'll have different sensors. This one right here is actually for screwing into your thermobob. And if you're a snow biker, you know what I'm talking about. Your thermostat right here, it's going to have a special port for temperature, and that's what we've got going on here. This is actually the same threading that you need for your thermostat. You'll also get some other stuff. These are little accessory pigtails. This is a special mount that you could use to mount on your handlebars. This is kind of a clever device right here. This is the 12-volt battery guard. This actually protects your battery from being accidentally discharged too far down to start the bike. And so this is, I'll go into more detail here on this and how it works when we go to install it. Cool little pen. And yeah, so here's the box, and we'll slip it out here. Very nice. So there's the digital dash right there. And then you get a few more accessories here. These are the Wago connections, pretty slick. You just lift up these tabs, stick in the wire, and then push the tab back down, and it makes a really secure connection. This is the engine temperature. This is actually what plugs into your ignition pulse stator. This is what is going to read the RPM, and pretty clever design on that. And of course some instructions in the manual. So all in all, you get a lot, but pretty easy install. I'm going to go over how to do that right now and see how this works. All right, so first thing to do, of course, is disconnect the battery and make sure it's completely disconnected while you're working on it. All right, next we're gonna do a little prep work, and we're gonna get the coolant temperature sensor installed on the thermostat. And I like to use a little bit of thread tape along with some pipe thread compound. And I think that just makes a really nice leak-proof connection there. All right, so next up, we're gonna be removing this coolant hose coming off the head and up to the radiators. I like to keep this as a spare and keep it around for summer, and then have a second one set up for snow biking. And if you can't do that, if you're setting this up and want to use your OEM hose, just hold your thermostat up to the hose here where you want it and make some marks with the marker, cut out that piece of hose, and then go ahead and install it. All right, so that's what it's going to look like all set up. And I really like that Berotec put this nice protective sleeve on this. You know, it's in an area that gets a little hot, and yeah, just seems like really quality. All right, so next up, we're going to be tying into the coil on the stator. This actually is going to tie into a pre-existing OEM connection on the bike that reads top dead center and sends the pulse. And so this is what's going to read the RPM on the dash. Now, so on these newer bikes, you're going to use this blue connection, and that's located right here next to the ECU. On some of the older KTM's, Husky bikes, that connection used to be found over here somewhere by the coil. So just look around. Generally speaking, they've always used the same blue looking connection, and it's the only one on the bike. And so we'll split that open, and then what we're going to do is add this guy in there. And this little pickup right here is for this is the one that's going to go to the dash. All right, so here's what it looks like all set up. Pretty straightforward. You really can't get this wrong because there's a male and a female end. And so all you're doing is splitting the blue, wiring in this white piece, and then we'll leave this ready for hooking up to the dash next. All right, so next we're going to be installing the dash inside of the C3 top clamp. And I took a piece of plastic and just kind of made my own little back plate. And so I'm going to insert this here, and the reason I put a little lip on the front is it tucks in there really nice. And then what I'm going to do is use some 3M adhesive, adhese here, and then also a tiny bit on the front right there. So both there and here. And I think when I go to put the dash in there, it should look pretty good. I'm going to get the cables all routed the way that I want, but when I'm done, it's going to sit right inside of there like that. All right, so here's what it looks like all installed inside of the C3 top clamp. And then I just ran the wires down back behind the number plate, and then I'm going to actually run them behind the fork here along this existing. There's a nice little spot you can actually take this off, this cover, and run it back behind here. And when I'm all finished, I'll show you what that looks like. Right now, what we're going to do next is start to hook things up to the battery. This is that 12-volt battery guard. They're calling it Intelligent Discharge. And this is pretty neat little relay system, voltage relay. This is, of course, your ground, your power. It is fused, I believe, with a 10 amp fuse. And then on here, on this box, see if we can get it in the light, they have different settings. And you can see the cutoff voltage, 0 through 9, there's 10 settings. It starts at 13.6 volts, and then it runs all the way down to 11.7 volts. And for lithium batteries here on the bottom, they say settings 1 through 3. So you just get on the dial here and spin that to 1, 2, or 3 for a lithium battery, and then the other settings for lead acid battery. And this again monitors your use of accessories and cuts off the accessories as needed, so you don't accidentally discharge your battery and left stranded. Pretty slick setup, pretty great design. The end here, these of course are your consumers. So what we're going to do here, you've got a black and a red, and I'm again trying to run both the dash and the fan. And so to do that, I've got these ACC accessory splitters, and there's a red set and a black set for positive and negative, and they come with 3 splits each. I'm only going to use 2, and we'll have an extra one. So we'll get this installed and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so as I'm going ahead and connecting up connections, I just thought it'd be a good time to remind people, throw a little dielectric grease on all the connections when you go to do these. This a little bit will go a long ways, keep moisture out and prevent corrosion. All right, so I changed my mind. Instead of using these accessory wires, I just didn't like how clumped this was going to be. And so a little cleaner approach, they included some of these Wago connectors, and they're super slick because you can just open up the end there and then shut it closed. And the nice thing about it is you can add in wires like this together and it just clamps them down nice and tight. So this will be a cleaner look. And also, if I ever need to service these or pull them apart and look for corrosion, they're reusable. I can pull them off, look at them in the field, snap them back together. Okay, so for the battery guard, the cleanest spot I could find to mount it was right here next to the battery. And so I just used some of that 3M adhesive tape and then taped it to the side of this, and I test fitted the seat to make sure it fits in there nice. And I've got the cords running forward, so those will be nice and easy to button up with the battery. And then I've still got access to the dial back here in case I've got to turn it, you know, up or down depending on the battery draw. All right, so here we are. We've got it all set up, and we've got RPM, coolant temp, ambient temp, and a gear indicator. Right now, I don't have the ambient temp hooked up, but I'll fire up the bike, show you what this looks like. Pretty awesome. So I'm going to run through the menu here. You can change, this is a touch screen, and you can change just about anything on here. For temperature, you can set thresholds. So right now, 110, this is in Celsius. I just switched it over to Fahrenheit, imperial units. And so we're gonna bump up the max to, let's do 200. Then hot setting, we'll bump that up to, let's go up to like 180. Back that off a little bit. So that's actually where the thermostat is set, 180. And then for cold, we'll bump that up to, let's go like 100. Okay, it looks like it actually maxes out at 99. We'll go back. These all save. You don't have to like reset these every time. They save. Sensors. Input. RPM. Here I've got it set up so that at 12,200 it flashes. At 10,000 it turns to an orange red, and then anything below 8,600 is just like an orange. Display, you can go into here and change the colors. Kind of reminds me of the days when we had those old flip phones. Even before the flip phones, we had those phones that you could change the colors on them. Rotate, you could rotate the screen if you wanted. You know, if you had this oriented a different way, you could do that. And then these are different layouts for your screen. So I'll show you what full 2 looks like. Just a different arrangement, basically. So yeah. Display, we'll go back to full 1. Go into settings. Here you can change imperial, the units. You can change imperial, or you can go over to metric. You can set up service intervals, and so, you know, on these snow bikes, we like to do the oil changes every 10 hours, sometimes less. And so you can set up the service interval. This actually is measured off of your RPM tag. It's not like a true hour meter so much, but more so revolutions off of your RPM. And yeah, I mean, like here you can see cycles times 1,000, cold start, hours. I guess maybe it does keep track of hours. Pretty neat. So yeah, just in conclusion, install was pretty straightforward, and I'm pretty impressed. I mean, the way it fits in that top clamp is really slick, and it gives you all the information right there in a nice little package. And it's color screen, so at night you'll be able to see it. And yeah, it's just a different option. I think that Intelli Smart Guard for the battery is a really clever way to not have to think about it and have to remember to turn it on and off. From what I read in the manual, the draw that gauge uses is very, very, very minimal. And so time will tell. I'll probably do a more full review here once the season starts, and I'll give you an update as to how things are going with this setup. But as of right now, I'm very impressed, and Berotec knocked it out of the park on this one. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, guys, and please hit that like and subscribe button. Helps the channel grow. We're just about to crest 600 people, and it's been a fun journey. I started this channel about a year ago, and sure appreciate your support, so thank you.